So, hey everyone, we're about to get started here. I am Bree at Massively, and with me today I have a bunch of cool people. We're going to play City of Heroes and do some architect missions. Starting with Eliot from Massively, who is our City of Heroes columnist, and Zaphir, right here, playing Doom Metal. And he's actually the reason we're all gathered here today, because it is his arc that we'll be playing. He actually just recently won the Dr. Aeon Mission Architect Challenge. So since we know him and everything kind of just came together, we thought we'd go ahead and give his arc a play. I also have a couple of other people here with me, some guildies, and they are not on chat because it didn't sound very good, but they all say hello too. So if you guys have any questions or anything, we have somebody monitoring the chat, so go ahead and just type anything in. Of course, only if you're watching this live. If you're not watching this live, you're out of luck. Also, we have some accents going on in the channel, so if you're not very good with accents and you want something repeated, go ahead and type that in too, and our handy-dandy chat monitor will pass things along so we can try to answer some questions. So, I think we're going to get started. I should probably also let you say hi to the two people I have with me on Mumble today who can talk and let us know what's going on. The first one is Eliot, as I mentioned. Hi, Eliot.
Hi there. I'm Eliot Lefebvre. I'm the writer of A Mild-Mannered Reporter and General City of Heroes News on Massively.com.
And the other one being Balazs. Hi, Zaph.
Hi, everyone. I am Balazs, and I am the author of the arc that we'll be playing tonight. Well, yay. I guess it's this morning or today for you guys living in America.
Yes, Zaph is from Hungary. His is the accent I was talking about. You probably can't see it on your screen, but I'm standing in front of the Architect Entertainment thingy, and I've picked out his arc, and we're about to start playing it. It's called Who Dares Wins. Just for reference, it's arc ID 454805. And we're going to go with standard rewards. I know, Zaph, you told me the difference last night. What were they again?
Basically, for arcs that have gotten the Dev Choice nomination, you can choose whether to get normal rewards, which are the same rewards you get as like running any other mission. Stuff like recipes, invention salvage, and all that other stuff. But for all other arcs, you get tickets, which you can then use to buy your own loot.
There you go. Alright, you guys can see that
as a result, Developer's Choice arc, you get the choice to do either. If you need more tickets, you can run it getting ticket rewards. If you want to get normal rewards for completing a mission arc, you can choose the normal rewards.
Yeah, I'm with the guy in chat. I like tickets too. I make a ton of money off of selling salvage from tickets. Alright, so in Architect we go up to the custom NPC, Raider Captain Richardson, and I'm not going to be reading you everything. We'll let Zaph discuss it when we actually get started in there. So you're just going to have to read it yourself. But I'm going to take the mission, and we're going to click on the green tube of light, because nothing bad has ever happened from clicking on green tubes of light and being shot up into the sky, right? Yeah, actually, somebody said, I'm talking to the people in chat, Backfire said you still get XP with ticket rewards. See, somebody said in our post about this that the stuff should be halved, but I thought it already was. Don't you not get, what is it called? Paul, what's it called? You don't get double experience. You don't get rested experience, right? If you do AE, or does that only work when you're taking standard rewards?
I could not actually tell you.
I thought that's how it worked.
Now I'm not sure. I know that you used to not benefit from Rest XP in AE, but they might have changed that, so I'm actually not sure about that right now.
Yay, now you can see everybody, and we're out of the clutter of AE, and we're going to get moving. You can also see that we started out at level 50, but the arc has bumped us onto 35, as we've lost some of our skills, unfortunately, but I think you're going to be pleased with the particle effects anyway. So yeah, Zaf, since we're not going to be reading very much quest text, why don't you give us like an overview of the arc and this particular mission?
Oh, sure thing. Well, basically the theme of this challenge was rogues and vigilantes. I have chosen to explore the rogue angle, or rather the redemption of a rogue angle. And in this arc, you play the role of a Sky Raider captain. Now, the Sky Raiders are a traditional villain group that you usually fight if you are a hero. But in this arc, you get to, well, play the arc from their point of view. So you get kind of a different view on things. And maybe you get to learn a bit more about them, maybe learn a bit more about their motivations, their history, and other stuff. Basically, the main concept of the arc is that there's a series of missions on hero side that you do in order to get your respecialization tokens, which allow you to respec your character, the Terra Vota trials. And this arc basically explores the other side of those trials, where instead of being the heroes that are trying to prevent the villains from doing bad stuff to the Terra Volta reactor, you are one of the villains that are trying to do the bad stuff to the Terra Volta reactor. The first mission, just going to the Cray facility. Cray is the ubiquitous evil research company in City of Heroes, to steal some necessary ingredients for the raid.
Aha. See, I think you guys can start to understand why Zaf won, because English is his second language, and he just used the word ubiquitous. Out loud.
Objectives here. For example, you might have seen that we broke some generator in the previous level, which in turn freed some monsters later on in this map, and those monsters help us fight the Cray guards of this compound. Other than that, the mission is fairly standard. You just go through the map and collect various items that you might need. Of course, there's plenty of text during all these, both in clues and the various interaction bits that you do. In my opinion, that's one of the main strengths of the mission architect. That you can basically rewrite the text of anything you want.
Now, when you use custom NPCs, though, doesn't it? I mean, you only get so many of those per arc, correct? Aren't you like limited, like by space?
Yeah, there's a space limitation. Another aspect of mission architect is the ability to add your own custom mobs, custom enemies or allies if you want. Now, of course, this means that you can give them all kinds of funky powers, even the ones that might not necessarily be available to normal heroes. For example, you can make a blaster that has a tanker secondary power set. But yes, it's true that there's a limit on the fight size that you have.
Okay, so why wouldn't you just play a blaster and then pretend you were a tanker like Niblet?
Well, that's more different. I mean, you can basically give your custom characters any kind of costume, any kind of power set that you want. And of course, depending on what powers you give them, they might be worth less XP than normal, which might be an issue. But going back to the size limitations, actually in a recent patch, the available size for customs was really increased. So it's not that much of a problem anymore to put in a lot of customs in your arc if you want to. Just for this arc, I have chosen to go mostly with stock mobs because I thought it fit the theme of the arc more.
all the particle effects. So cool. So these guys we're looking at here, they're not actually custom mobs. These are mobs that were added in Going Rogue, correct?
Well, the Kremals that we are fighting have been here since, well, the beginning of the game, basically. They are one of the basic villain groups in City of Heroes.
Wait, really? Am I thinking of a different group? The ninja people? Like the ninja office people? I didn't realize that was an old group. Wow. My memory's crap.
Nope, these are pretty standard Cray enemies.
Anyway, going back to the mapping, you basically can't set exactly where you want your enemies to spawn or anything. You can say that you want your objectives to spawn in the front or the back, but you can't explicitly specify when you want them to show up. So that's a challenge. Also, there are other funky things in maps like this. For example, this map has these destructible lab equipment that can give random buffs and debuffs to people who break them.
I didn't realize that. That's cool. Somebody asked to see the map. There's the map, although it's kind of messed up by the overlay there.
Yep, another nice thing about the map that they've added recently is that if there's only one objective remaining, it now shows you where it is. So one of the big complaints about City of Heroes back in the day, I know it was one of my big complaints, was the glowy hunt aspect. When you had one last objective on a huge map, you just couldn't track down, and you had to spend like an insane amount of time just trying to find it. But thankfully, they mostly fixed that bug.
Oh yeah, I'm totally with you. I totally hated that. Not cool. This has been a wonderful change. Hey, it's never too late. You can't give up on the old games just because they're old. Sometimes they've got twice as much content as the new games, and they're totally worth playing again.
Oh yeah, speaking of content, I'm not sure about the exact number, but right now, the Mission Architect has like 500,000 arcs. Now, if you consider that playing through an average arc can take between 15 minutes to up to maybe 1.5 hours, maybe even 2 hours. That's quite a bit of content, I would say.
Holy crap. Wow, I had no idea there were that many. Go ahead, Eliot, sorry.
Oh, no worries. I remember when they first launched Mission Architect, they said it took fans about a day to come up with as much content as they had created, as the development team had created over the entire lifespan of City of Heroes to that point.
Of course, that comes with payback. You consider that not all of that content is necessarily really high quality or fun to play. So, yeah, finding the good arcs is can be a problem. But there are various player-curated initiatives, such as like a sticky thread in the Mission Architect forum, and an in-game channel for promoting and searching for story arcs called the MA Arc Finder that are very, very useful if you want to find high-quality story arcs.
Oh yeah, we've definitely used that a couple times, just trying to find stuff to play.
Yep, I know. I use it all the time. I have a character I leveled from level 5 up to 35 just in AE, and I probably level him up to level 50 purely through AE. And those ways of finding good arcs help a lot.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out too that, I mean, since they've nerfed farming, and I'll let you guys talk about this a little bit later, but that's not, cheating. There are lots of people who can probably get to 50 in a weekend, but when you're actually playing a story and not just doing repetitive tasks, that's actually quite an achievement.
Yeah, if I may get on a soapbox for a bit here, I would say that that's one of the greatest strengths of the entire MA system. Well, it's not infinite, but it's an insane amount of player-generated content. So if people complain about tedium, well, I think the mission architect has enough content to make people not feel bored for, well, I won't say for eternity, but certainly for a long, long time.
What about people who are complaining that it's just the same old? I mean, yes, you've got a character, a player-written thing, but you're still playing the same maps, usually the same enemies or spins on the same enemies. What do you think about that?
There are certainly arcs that are special in the sense that they have something unusual. I mean, okay, I say a few examples. There's an arc about bikini-clad vampiresses from outer space. Sorry, bikini-clad samurai vampiresses from outer space. And it's in the spirit of an Ed Wood movie, and it's completely awesome. There are various other really funky arcs, like one written in the spirit of Roger Ramjet and similar cartoons. There are some that are tributes to classical literature even. Really, if I won't say that you can find an arc about everything, every single setting, but it's pretty close. So yeah.
Also, cat girls.
Yeah, cat girls. Other than that, well, it's partially true that you are kind of limited in what kind of an arc you can create. Certainly you can change all the text you want. You can add custom characters, which can in itself increase the uniqueness of an arc by a lot. You are restricted to using maps, of course, to certain maps, of course. This will be a bit apparent later on. And there are a few other restrictions. You can't exactly say where people will spawn. You can't have all those fancy toys that they put in with going rogue, like the conversation trees and whatnot. But still, even then, I think you can create things that are way better and more varied than your standard tip missions, newspaper missions, almost and a lot of standard story arcs even.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Go ahead, Eliot. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all right. I was just going to say, I think a lot of the people who complain that Mission Architect is repetitive, a large part of it is because, the fundamental nature of the game is not going to change. It's player generated, but yes,
sure,
you are still going to be playing City of. So as a result, it kind of comes back to how, if you're bored with City of Heroes, obviously Mission Architect is going to be more of the same. But
right.
It doesn't, even though it doesn't change the fundamental mechanics, there's so much that can be done with the setting, so much that can be done with characters, with custom power sets, with custom enemies, that it really can provide as rich an experience as you want, and as rich an experience as you're willing to invest in it.
Sure. No, you're probably right. People just aren't willing to do that. I mean, it's a lot of work. How long do you think this took you, Zaph, to just do this one arc?
I don't want to think about it. Actually, it's kind of hard to define. I usually don't work in arcs in a linear way. First, I get an idea, then I refine the idea. I plan out the arc on paper, stuff like that. So it's really hard to tell. But it was about most of my free time that I dedicate to online games. Part of my free time that I dedicate to online games in about 1 month, I think.
Wow.
Most of it was writing the text because this arc has a lot of text.
Yeah, I was just looking at Lieutenant Byers and showing that off, although I don't think anybody can actually see it because of the resolution. Well, actually, Zaph, why don't you explain this part of the arc that we just joined into? Explain.
Oh, right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, sorry, I got a bit carried away. Okay, so in the first mission, we collected all these various bits and pieces that we need in order to raid the Terravota nuclear reactor. In the second part of the arc, we deal with our rivals. These guys, the Freak Show, are kind of, well, not really sophisticated gang that solves its problems by beating on things. But more importantly, they also want to raid the Terravota reactor. And in fact, the second respec trial has you fighting them, if I remember correctly. So in this part, we go in and try to find their leader and humiliate him. Trick with freaks is that the freak show is that they are kind of well, mayhem is kind of their element, so you can't just kill them because that won't stop them. So you need to humiliate them. In this case, this is accomplished by abusing the fact that the freak show leader is really afraid of bees, and using some hallucinogens that will make him see a lot of bees, which will result in him being completely out of it for the next few days. Well, of course, it's silly. I mean, it's a comic book. Good plot after all.
Yeah, he's not kidding. There are bees.
Can we cue up a clip of that part of Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage?
Oh, not this again.
Yeah, actually, there was a B movie in the 70s, but it wasn't a B movie, it was an A movie, but it turned out to be a B movie called Swarm that had a lot of killer bees. It was kind of the inspiration for that part, so yeah. I think it had Michael Caine in it. Anyway, we also fought another group that you might have seen, the Council. They are kind of like this secretive, shadowy conspiracy trying to take over the world. And we intercept them because they want to make deals with the Freak Show. Just exactly for raiding this Terravota reactor. So it's just killing two birds with one stone sort of thing.
Yay, so we are going to move on to part 3, and you said this was 5 parts, right?
Yep, 5 parts. 5-part arcs are usually really long and epic. I'm actually more comfortable with shorter arcs, but I felt that this time it was necessary to have a sort of gradual shift of the main character's alignment, so to speak. Yeah, I forgot to mention, in this arc, it's actually a first-person arc. You are playing as the captain that you see, the contact, and it's kind of a holographic memory unit that was found, and it details what happened to him and what he did in the entire raid. And of course, he puts all sorts of memoirs in there that can help you to understand what kind of character he was, what his history was, and stuff like that. So in this third leg of the arc, we go back to our base. Well, by we, I mean the captain. We find that it's crawling with the Paragon Police Department, the PPD, and they actually brought in heroes.
Who knows? Hey, if you guys are just tuning in, I'm Bree from Massively, and we are live streaming right now City of Heroes Architect mission called Who Wins Dares by a guildie of mine named Zaphir, and also with me is Eliot Lefebvre from Massively, our City of Heroes columnist. So we are playing his arc, and we are checking it out while they tell us how it goes down.
And I'm dressing up in a variety of costumes.
I had noticed that before you were a Rikti, and I was thinking, I don't think there should be Rikti in this mission.
There probably shouldn't be ghouls in this mission either, but whatever.
Oh, that guy looks familiar. Okay, so it's not a Merisu, okay? I just might not have enough time to make a proper costume. So.
Yeah, the turnaround on some of those costumes is pretty crazy, and the competition, oh my goodness. A gazillion people enter those things.
Wait, are we sure we got the right one? Let's kill both of them just to be safe.
It's only fair. Hey, Zaph, so what did you get as, I mean, if people are watching, they can see that you have this awesome yellow title over your head that, of course, you got from winning. What else did you get for winning? I mean, why should people do this other than because they love stories? You can answer that question after you stop us from dying.
Okay, so basically what it is that there's a way for arcs to get highlighted. One of these ways is by getting the dev's choice, which means that the developer, in this case Dr. Aeon, has really liked your arc and put it on the front page of the arc browser. And the other way is getting a lot, and I mean an insane amount of plays on your arc, which is currently over 1,000. Well, yeah, it's not really a realistic goal to accomplish, unfortunately, which gets you a Hall of Fame status. Also, your arc must have a perfect 5-star rating for that. Yeah, I also forgot to mention, people who might not know, when you play arcs, you can rate them, give them a star rating. And that rating defines where the arc shows up in the browser. It actually sounds good on paper, but unfortunately it also means that if you have an arc with a lot of plays, but which might have a low rating for some reason or another, maybe just a 4-star rating because the rating average is at 4.49 stars, then it will only show up at page 250 or something crazy like that. So people won't really find it by doing random searches.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that people will rate up arcs for different reasons. Some people will rate arcs highly if they have an engaging story, an interesting set of missions. Other people will rate an arc highly based on how easy it is to farm it for experience or influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I know that in the architect mission author community, we've thought up a few ways to deal with the problem. Something like maybe switching to a like-dislike system or something just more robust. But yeah, it would really help people in finding good arcs for them. I know that this arc, the one we are playing right now, is on the front page, so obviously people are playing it, but new authors or even old authors with established arcs might not get any plays on their arcs at all because it's, well, I won't say impossible, but extremely hard to find their arcs unless you know where to look. Like I mentioned,
Right.
The Mission Architect Arc Finder channel or that sticky thread in the MA forums.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the things that I am working on right now for a future mild-mannered reporter column is to try and consolidate some of the better arcs out there, just to have a static reference and just play through some of them, see how they do, see how they stack up, and see what sort of players might enjoy them.
Yeah, plug for Massively. If you guys actually have any submissions, things that you want Eliot to check out, things that, arcs that you think are really cool, mail them to him. Eliot@massively.com.
I have actually gotten a few interesting arcs already. I haven't had a chance to check them out yet this weekend.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't realize anybody had done it. I've been trying to plug it, because, people plug their arcs everywhere. You'd think they'd plug them on a big site, too. So, hey, somebody in the channel was asking who was actually piloting. That's me. I'm playing this character. I'm playing the controller. But I could probably introduce everybody else, too, especially the ones that didn't get to join us on chat. So let me let everybody die for a second here. I think the dude playing the zombie, that's Eliot. Is it Gravelines? Is that right, Eliot?
Gravelines.
Graveline, duh. And you're actually, are you a crab or a spider?
I am a crab spider.
Oh, gee, why didn't I know that?
So the answer to that question is yes.
Yes. And Zaph is playing Doom Metal. He's a Radiation Sonic Defender, chosen not because it was OP, although it is. I think we actually made you re-roll from a controller to play that, didn't we, Zaph?
Yeah. I still have my controller too. Actually, no, I re-rolled from a blaster, like a Sonic Blaster or something.
Oh man, Sonic Blasters are terrible. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I get the same blasts here, plus I get to heal people. Well, actually, that's not important. What's important is that I can buff everyone, which includes myself, which is the important part, so I can hit for more.
There are two kinds of defenders and corruptors. There are those specs for healing and those specs for awesome. Zaph is specs for awesome.
So yeah, you guys can see us. Tess is playing Valkyria X Maiden, and he's doing all of our rounding up. Hi, Tess. You can't hear him, but he can hear you. And then behind me
He's
is
like Santa Claus.
with blonde ponytail and wings. Actually, really not like Santa Claus at all.
Maybe not your Santa Claus.
And then the little one, let's see. Niblet, stand still. Hi, Niblet. Niblet is a small, green-haired nuking character in pretty much every single game we've ever played, all the way back to, like, EverQuest. That's my husband. I'm not sure what that says about him, except that he likes blowing things up. And who did I forget? I forgot Cal. Oh yeah, we were talking about cat girls. Cal is a cat boy. So there you go.
Anyway, we have mostly included this mission. When I designed this, I intended it to be a stealth mission. Most of the objectives were actually optional, so you didn't need to do them to complete the mission. All you need to do is get to the end and click on that desk at the very end of the map. So if you are some kind of a stealther archetype, like a stalker or illusion controller that has invisibility or anything with invisibility power pool, you could just get to the end and avoid all the fighting if you wanted to. And also, most of the mob groups were not static, but instead they were patrols, which meant that if you follow their pattern, you could avoid them if you wanted. So this is another example of how you can diversify mission architect arcs from the usual stuff that you see in typical missions.
Yeah, answering chat a little while we zone. Zaph is actually from Budapest, from Hungary.
Yes, it's the center of the universe. At least that's what Hungarians would consider.
Yes.
Yeah, Hungary is a tiny country. It's 10 million people in the middle of Central Europe or so. English is my second language, and I have this really annoying / awesome accent that you have been subjected to.
I love your accent. It's awesome. So
I don't think his accent loves you back.
Probably not. I had started to ask you guys before. Oh wait, it's Captain Cal. Here's another one of those special NPCs.
Oh yeah, I just explained really quickly because this mission is fairly simple from a story point of view. Basically, the captain has discovered that he was betrayed by his own people, some of the Sky Raiders, the mercenary part of the Sky Raiders. So he went to the reactor himself to kind of kill them all, at least the leaders.
Conveniently played by stand-ins for several of our guildies that couldn't be arsed to come join us. Except for Cal. Cal is continuing.
Some other words about this map. There are a few outdoor maps available in the Mission Architect. Not too many of them, but quite a few. Unfortunately, for an outdoor map that's suitable for the outside of a reactor, this was basically the only option, and it's very big. So what I did was I thinned out the spawns by making sure that only a smaller number of enemies spawn than the maximum allowed. And I also made it so that the bosses that need to be killed stand out, because they are the only enemies in the map who have those fancy flying machines, the sky skiffs. Well, that was a friendly sky skiff actually. It's unfortunately not controllable.
Someone in chat is laughing at your map choice. You were telling us about this last night.
Yeah, another thing that might be apparent is that there are actually quite a few friendly ambushes in this map that actually help us fight the bosses that you need to kill. Which is also partially why this mission ended so quickly, because the ambush actually helped us wipe out one of the enemy bosses almost right away.
So yeah, that doesn't happen all the time. It's just totally random.
Yeah, it's random. There's also a battle between the loyal and the traitor Sky Raiders in the middle of a map. Those kinds of battles are also dynamic. They can go either way. And if the good guys win, then they will help you with other enemies that might be nearby.
But if they lose, you never find out about it.
Yep, and you can shed a single tear.
So this is the last mission of this arc, correct? This is the finale.
If you're really so motivated, you can also compose a bizarre version of Candle in the Wind as a tribute. We do not recommend that.
Let's see, in chat, Moab, yes, Corruptors do have Storm. They've had it for a while. Storm is awesome. I'm a controller, though. And yeah, I'm sorry, Backfire, that it got you killed. I guess you guys can probably tell we're not really playing on the most difficult of settings, because we figured that we'd be kind of distracted while we were talking to you guys, so it's kind of easy, but you can crank this up to be really, really hard if you want a serious challenge, which is another cool thing about this game. Most games do not give you that option.
Yeah, speaking about scaling, basically anyone can play story arcs like this, because there is a strong scaling system built into City of Heroes itself, in sidekicking and mentoring, or rather exemplaring system.
You can also be the jerk who's on a Rikti costume while you're fighting a bunch of Rikti.
Quick, kill him!
Alright, I guess I should explain. Yeah, this is the last mission of the arc, the live voting moment, when we go into this heart of the reactor, only to find out that the traitors have sold us out to the Rikti, and they have actually the Ricti are doing something very, very bad that will probably end up destroying the city, if not even worse. So the captain decides that, yeah, even though he's kind of a villainous type, I mean, Sky Raiders are not really altruistic. In part of his history, he was involved in the fight against the Ricti invaders originally. So he eventually decides that fighting the Ricti is the important thing to do here. So he goes in to stop whatever it is they are planning.
Yeah, the guys in the chat channel are talking about debt and how much it's changed. A lot of stuff has changed about City of Heroes. It's not just debt. I mean, when I first started playing the game, we got bored really quickly. We played in the beginning and we quit after like 2 months. Then we came back for City of Villains and we quit after like 2 months. And then we actually came back for Architect Entertainment, which is why I'm really happy to show it off a little bit, because this is just really neat. But they've also, I mean, they've like seriously changed the way experience is gained. I mean, it used to be such a grind. It was insane. And now, I mean, even if you're not power leveling, you can level up pretty quickly nowadays. Which isn't, important for itself. It doesn't really matter. There's no end game to get to per se, but getting more powers is fun. Just getting up and actually getting to flesh out your character is the cool part.
Although, to be fair, the whole endgame system is changing with the next patch.
Yeah. Incarnate system. So, Eliot, actually, you got to check out all of that stuff. Did you want to talk about that real quick before we're done here?
I can't talk about it too much, both because I don't want to say anything that isn't necessarily kosher with the PR folks over there. But
no worries.
From my experience, I didn't get a lot of time to play around with the incarnate system. What I did play around with, though, looked really interesting and really flexible. It looked like the sort of thing that you can enjoy whether you have a little bit of time to play or a lot of time to play. So if you want to do it as a hardcore endgame sort of grind in the same vein as some of the stuff in the Ricti Warzone, you can do that. If you would prefer to focus on just, playing a bit here and there, it looks like that's going to be just as supported. Which is one of the nice things about City of Heroes, is that it supports both play styles, that if you have a lot of time to play, that's great. If you only have time to log in and do 1 or 2 missions really quickly, you are still going to be progressing, you are still going to get somewhere, you are still going to find rewards and find fun things to do.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the stuff that makes me really curious about how the game is gonna work in the future. It's just so unbelievably casual friendly. I just don't play it like I play other games. Hey, we've got another custom dude here with custom description. Oh wait, he doesn't have one. Zaph!
What?
Why doesn't Rimtar have a... I thought Rimtar would have a special description.
He has 1 line at the end.
Okay.
I basically kept the original description, but added 1 line at the end. Just about what he's doing. Because, well, from an in-character standpoint, the captain wouldn't really know what made that guy special, other than what he's doing.
Yeah, that's actually something that's, I think, really difficult to convey in a live stream, especially when you can't actually read the text that I can see. If you're not reading that stuff, you're not really going to follow the story at all. So it's one of those things you almost have to play if you really want to experience it. Of course, you could also just play it and then completely ignore that stuff and then play it however you want. Just, kill stuff. The choice is yours.
Yeah, just open the Clues tab and watch with horror.
Oh man, I should do that. Look at this. This is insane. It's like a freaking wall of text.
There's actually a text limit, 300 characters that you can put in each clue. And I have come very, 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 very close on all of those. Clues are basically just bits of information that you get while doing missions. They are also in their normal arcs, like not the mission architect arcs, but they are one of the major ways where you can sort of give extra information to the player that's not really possible without other means. And I don't just mean exposition, I also mean, well, basically anything that's relevant to the story.
Yeah, that's actually something we were talking about last night. How much like hardcore writing goes into this. That it would be easy to think that it's just positioning mobs and just picking a map, but it's really a ton of English, a ton of story.
Or if you just want to make a farming mission, it is just placing a few mobs in there and trying to gimp them as much as you can. But that's another story.
Well, that's part of the fun, having the option to do whichever. If you actually want to win a contest, though, you actually have to write a little novel.
Actually, I know that there is some merit in brevity, I think. So it's kind of a vice of mine to have a lot of text everywhere, and I don't just mean City of Heroes. Even as part of my work, I'm sometimes involved with writing technical documentations and research reports and whatnot. And it can get very wordy. But if you can tell a story with less words, that doesn't make the story any worse. The problem is if you don't have any words, of course.
And see, even as you say that, I'm mourning the loss of the robot BattleBot arc. Best arc ever. Rest in peace. No one has any idea what I'm talking about. That was like our pet farming arc for a little bit there. Mostly because it was not because we really wanted the experience, but because we wanted to challenge ourselves and see how whether our group could actually take it. When we could get our newbies to like actually succeed at that arc, that was a win. But yeah, that's the thing, is that if you're gonna farm, I mean, what's even the point? You could do that maybe once or twice, and then you'd get bored of it. We literally would get totally bored. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. You'll go mad. Oh, that's it.
And the bosses were pretty tough. They were bosses and they were customs, and they had a pretty nasty power set. So they were actually a pretty good challenge to gauge how powerful our characters were. Use it kind of as a baseline.
Yep, exactly.
And that's the thing. If there's one watchword for City of Heroes, it's choices. Your character looks like what you want. Your character plays the way that you want. You are never forced into a specific play pattern. If you want to farm, you can. If you would rather not farm, you have plenty of options to avoid that.
Hey, Eliot, somebody in the channel is asking about the Richty costume that you got from the New York City Comic-Con.
Yep, this was one of the rewards for the New York City Comic-Con. If you attended the party that Paragon Studios hosted at the Comic-Con, you were rewarded with a card that had the code for the Richty costume. We did have a giveaway of those costume codes. I think that's long concluded, though, so odds are not 100%, but certainly there that they may once again have the costume available at some point. But for right now, it's a souvenir of anyone who got Comic-Con or had a friend who went to Comic-Con and grabbed it for them.
Yeah, those costumes are really neat. All right, I'm gonna zone out, and this is the finale, so you gotta pay attention.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they can read the text though, but
nope, they probably can't. And we decided last night that we weren't going to spoil the ending because that would just be wrong. But I'll read you the little blurby that pops up.
Yeah, basically how it ends is that you might have seen that after we killed the end boss, there was a rickety bomb casing that spawned. We destroyed the casing, and in the end, the captain found the rickety bomb in there that was supposed to destroy Paragon City. So, and there the arc ends. I guess you have to play it for yourself to find out.
Yep. Find out what he does. Not gonna tell ya. So there you guys have it. That is the end of Zaphir's arc, and I think I called it "Who Wins Dares" before, but it's actually "Who Dares Wins." I always do that. And I'm gonna go find the arc number again. Oh, wait,
that arc number is 454805.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Eliot. And I will click out here. Oh yeah, here's the voting screen, so you can see how you can rate people's stuff. And I'm gonna give it a 5.
Oh man, I can feel my ego swelling right now.
Is there a way to give a negative number?
I don't think so.
Yeah, actually, joking aside, it's kind of sad that it's very possible that there are some people who just go around and downvote arcs just so that they don't get rated high and don't get shown up in the first pages during search, which I guess kind of shows that the rating system itself is not too realistic. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
it's more of a problem. Go ahead.
Nope. You're the columnist. Go.
It's one of those situations. It's not so much that the rating system itself is a problem, that the politics of it and the rewards for getting an arc into the Hall of Fame, which is essentially if you get an arc into the Hall of Fame, you essentially get another mission architect slot to play around with, and you know that people are playing your arc and enjoying it. So the rewards for it are high enough that people wind up doing things that under more sedate circumstances they might not.
Right.
There's some motivation for players to rate up the arcs that they like and rate down the ones that they dislike, or rate down the ones that aren't being produced by the people they want to produce them.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the bug in the system is the people, and there's nothing that people can do to fix that. It really needs to be fixed from the top down to kind of stop that gaming of the system. But then again, whenever anybody tells me AE is dead, I just point out to all the people that are still writing AE arcs and are trying so desperately to get their arcs played for these rewards. It's obviously not dead. It has some problems, but most game systems do.
Actually, if I might step on my soapbox for a second, I think there's also a problem of attitudes. Yeah, I see the protest signs up already. Okay, so I think there's a sort of stigma with the mission architect from the players themselves. A lot of people seem to think that, again, this is just my opinion, that the MA is nothing but just farms, exploits, and all the other stuff that entails. A lot of people might not even know or care about the actual story arcs that are in there, that are again really, really awesome and have a really huge spectrum of possible content. And really. So in the end, it's kind of a vicious circle, because not as many people might be playing story arcs, but in the end, the story arcs are kind of hard to find in the first place. So the mission authors can get discouraged, and so on and so on. Okay, I'm off my soapbox now. Sorry.
That's cool. Everybody's protesting you.
I gave it a 7. It was a pretty good rant.
We are all finished here, so we are going to close this puppy down. I am Bree from Massively, and with me was Eliot from Massively, and Zaphir, the winner of Dr. Ayan's most recent Architect Challenge, and that was Who Dares Wins, and various members of my guild who came and said nothing but killed everything in our path. If you guys have any additional questions, you can feel free to stick them in any of Eliot's columns, because he loves that. And if you've got any other...
people are going to do it anyway.
Exactly. If you've got any other arcs that you would like Eliot to take a look at, he's actually planning at least one column coming up, right? If not more, on Architect Entertainment.
It all depends on how many submissions I get. If I get 2 people showing off arcs, then okay, I'm probably not going to make it a 7-column series. If I get flooded with arcs and recommendations from people, then I'm going to be able to do a fair number of columns on it.
Awesome. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions for him, send them along, Eliot@massively.com. That's all we got, folks. Thank you all for coming out, and thank you to everybody who came with me.
Hope everybody enjoyed watching.